this is standard practice for a medical company. And I am sorry to inform you, but if you're collecting money from an insurance company, you are a medical practice, whether you want to be or not. So that's just key, right? The other things that would be included in something like this is your mission statement, right? Your mission statement and your values would be part of this. Really, one of the most important parts. And over time, you mostly, April, have convinced me how important mission statement and values can be, right? And so how we can embed this into the company's day-to-day operation and why it's so important.
So now I'm right.
Mm-hmm. We're both right. We're both always right most of the time, 50% of the time. I don't know. 100% of the time, we're right 50% of the time. If you get that reference, like and subscribe.
Yes. All right. So, yeah. But no, seriously, if you're willing to play with it a little bit, like you can, like you said, like this is the place for you to showcase your mission statement and your values, but then you can also take, I don't know, maybe some of the most key elements that you find throughout the policy and like tie the values to it. You know, like, I can't even think of an example, but like if your value is integrity, then, you know, like tie that back to why you have to do something a certain way, like maybe looking at documentation control and like, you know, that's how you practice and show your integrity is through like collecting accurate data and time sheets and all of that stuff, right? And following the ethical procedures for that or something. I don't know. Not a great example, but it was the best thing I could come up with on the top of my head. But you know, you don't have to like go through and nitpick every little thing because that would be a lot. But you know, just or at least having the understanding of how your values are into play throughout most of the policy. Some policies are in there because, well, I have to have it in here, and that's life. And sometimes we just have to have certain policies in to cover our butts in because insurance or whoever says so. And so they're in there, and, you know, I'm sure it's great, wonderful, all of that, but it's there. But making as many as you can, like making them your own and really tying them to your own value system within your company can just help to get more buy-in and to help you to live out your values throughout your company, right? Versus just the poster on the wall. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know, we hear this often. We just did a podcast on it. Like I took some time off for whatever reason. I came back to my company and I don't recognize it, right? And this can be part of that reason because your mission statement and values have not been put into the day-to-day processes as much as you would like, right? You don't have the KPI to back up those processes. So I think that those things can be very helpful, right? And then, you know, you mentioned already, but like some of these policies, again, hopefully never really have to use them, but they're there if you need them. But they're there for legal compliance. They're there for funding source rules and regulations. Some of these funders have in-network audits, right? So another podcast we did, the Optum audit, right? So Optum, Kaiser are the big two. Sometimes Medicaid does an in-network audit. So they may even come to your clinic or, in our case, come to your home and do the audit. So making sure that you have all of those standards in place to meet those audits. And, you know, I will get the pushback, well, then fine. I'm just not going to go on network with those funders that require audits. Just because the funder doesn't require an audit, typically in that contract that you're signing, you're still required to do the vast majority of this stuff. Like we had already talked about, client complaint processes, satisfaction surveys, having some kind of mechanism in place if there's an incident within your clinic or in the home. these things are just, did I already mention HIPAA compliance? And, those things are still required of you no matter what. Does that make sense?
It does. Yes.
Cool.
Makes sense.
And then there are accreditation processes out there as well, right? I'm not mentioning any names. I'm not referring to anybody. So you can look them up, do some Facebook searches, and you'll find them. And they also require this. And why do they require it? Because it's standard practice. It's just standard. These are the things that you're supposed to have in place. It's not like, oh, wow, I'm going above and beyond by having this company policy manual. I'm sorry to inform you. Well, I wish this was the case. This is bare minimum stuff, right? This is just what you do when you have a practice like this. These things have to be in place. It's not maybe if I get around to it. It's like really, this is bare minimum stuff that you really should have in place before you start seeing clients, before you start hiring employees.